Okay, so the car crash scene. We started working on the car crash scene during the middle of January by doing some basic trust exercises such as falling backwards to be caught by someone behind you, as you can see on the video. This is because we knew that eventually we would want Charlotte to be either lifted or possibly fall onto the ensemble members, so we wanted her to be as comfortable as possible with this. We also got each member of the ensemble to fall in turn as well, so that they could feel how it would feel to be in Charlotte's position in order for them to understand how they would have to catch her. From this trust exercise, we began to make a movement sequence, often asking the ensemble what move felt natural to them to do next. In this particular case, it was to smoothly help their partner up and turn it into an over-the-shoulder lift. This was to help our cast understand the fluidity of this scene, because that was, to us, really important. Eventually we wanted to show the impact of the car while still making the scene stylised and constantly moving, so the finalised piece would run smoothly. So we needed to get that across to our cast. Our next step was to decide exactly which move we wanted to represent the force of impact effectively on stage. We decided on the T-hop move, which a member of the ensemble stands either side of Charlotte, who stood in a T position, arms out, you'll see it on the video, and the ensemble lift her by the arms. We actually had quite a few issues with this, as we didn't realise how much upper body strength it took, and strong wrists to constantly lift Charlotte. And she actually ended up having small fingerprint bruises forming underneath her arms, so we knew this would be a scene that would have to be worked on in small doses to avoid draining our cast members. In the next rehearsal, we practiced the T-hop move with Charlotte walking towards the car, which is a continuation of the previous scene where she obviously leaves Ben's office and walks across the stage. However, it proved actually too much to have only 2 people lifting her, so we decided to have someone at the back to help lift her from the waist, whilst also being a spot check to make sure she didn't fall. This actually helped quite a lot, because we needed some more movement to the scene. But I still felt that we still needed more, so I suggested that we show a slightly more violent side of the car crash by dragging her backwards after the lift, to obviously represent her being dragged under the car, and it proved to have quite a nice effect. We didn't want to overcomplicate the moves, so thought it best to show the car crash on repeat over and over again, in order to show the brutality of the crash, as well as the fact that Flora's in constant struggle with these horrific memories, almost like they're a stuck record in her head. Originally we wanted to have 2 spotlights sweeping across the stage to represent the car's headlights. However, due to technical difficulties and obviously lack of resources, this proved too hard to do. So we opted for very dim lighting in order to signify the horribleness of this particular scene, and it also went nicely with the dragging effect. We finally began tweaking it over the next few months, by making the dragging more and more jagged and disorientating each time to show Flora's deterioration. We actually only added an extra ensemble member a few weeks before the show, as we decided we wanted the very first car crash movement to be different than the others, to really show that that was the moment that she was comatose. She lost everything in that moment. She died in that moment. So we decided this movement was a lift, in which Charlotte gets flung backwards and upside down by the ensemble. The move is also repeated during the death scene at the end of the play, so the audience only truly understand that it was that move that represented her moment of death until the end of the play. So it was a nice thing to have continue.